Hey guys, what's up? It's Powerbang here, and I'm bringing you the next episode of the 3-Star Bible. This is episode 2, and in this episode, we're going to be answering one of the most commonly asked questions on this channel. If you remember back to episode 1, I broke down the different components of a 3-star army. We talked about kill squads, we talked about damage-dealing troops, we talked about heroes, cleanup troops, but most specifically, and the focus of this video, are the defense-targeting troops such as your Hog Riders and your Balloons. So let's take a look at the first of 4 bases today that we're going to be scouting in order to determine which defense targeting troop will bring to support our army. Now in any base I scout, I first look to the ground to analyze the base as if I were going to bring Hog Riders as my main defense targeting troop. In this analysis, our primary concern is the giant bombs and their position inside the base, specifically giant bombs arranged side by side, known as double giant bombs. Now the double giant bombs are the bane of Hog Rider's existence. I'm immediately scanning that base for empty 2x2 and specifically 2x4 tile spaces that exist inside the walls. These void spaces are the potential giant bomb and Tesla locations. Once we've honed in on these empty spaces, we need to determine which one of these makes sense to hold double giant bombs. Now, what do I mean by makes sense? The Hog Riders will path from one defense building to the next, so if the double giant bomb is not between 2 defensive structures, both giant bombs are likely not to be triggered at the same time. This renders the double giant bomb position ineffective. Now, in many bases such as this one, you'll find very limited, sometimes even one potential location for a double giant bomb to exist. This means that you can send in a kill squad to deal with one double giant bomb location and send a small portion of hogs to pre-trigger the other. Now, a key point when setting up your hog raids, you do not have to pre-trigger all giant bombs. Eliminating the defensive structure that is directly next to the double giant bomb position is just as good, because the pathing over the bomb set has been destroyed. By starting your hogs on the defense building next to the double giant bomb that remains standing, the hogs will almost certainly path away from the bombs, and the risk to your hogs is now gone. Some final considerations that can be made during your scouting process are as follows. After subtracting the spells that you need to access the queen and the clan castle and get them killed, once those objectives are accomplished, will you have enough heal spells left over to keep your hogs alive throughout the remainder of the base? Sometimes when you dedicate a rage spell for your kill squad along with a jump spell to access that queen and clan castle, 2 heal spells sometimes isn't enough to cover the area that's needed, and you'll need to reconsider your kill squad plan or perhaps even think about attacking through the air. So as Eridan deploys 2 golems at the bottom of this base and some wizards on each side for the creation of that funnel, his goal is to just drop a couple of hogs to help push through the bottom defenses, and this eliminates the pathing to that double giant bomb set that exists. Now, if you look below the gold and dark elixir storage, there are no more buildings at all. This means that the hogs will not even path down to the bottom portion of that base where that double giant bomb is, even during the cleanup process, because there's no more buildings that exist. That double giant bomb set has been completely neutralized. Now, the top double giant bomb set is handled by sending a small group of hogs inside of a heal spell to path from the archer tower to the mortar, and then clearing that mortar eliminates the pathing over the double giant bomb to the archer tower on the right. Now, sometimes, like you see here, you'll have 1 or 2 hogs that actually split off from the main group, and they actually do you a favor because they go ahead and they trip the bombs that are in that double giant bomb position. Once those are triggered, they're out of the picture. But by removing the pathing to the archer tower there, you will not have to worry about that full group of hogs heading across the double giant bomb trap. Now, Eridan's main group of hogs continue to destroy the core of the base inside of a heal spell, and he's actually able to destroy the remainder of the base while holding back a heal spell. Not having to use those heals to get your hogs healed up from giant bomb detonations is very, very effective. It really reduces the number of hogs that you actually need to complete a successful hog raid, and I'll illustrate this point even more in this next raid. Now, in this base that caps attacks, it is a step up in difficulty because you'll notice more void spaces in the base where Teslas and giant bombs could be hiding. The key to becoming a successful attacker lies in the scouting process and being able to predict those potential hazards with a high degree of certainty. Now, even though there are quite a few more void spaces in this base, we're still going to look at this from a Hog Rider perspective. In an anti-3-star base, I almost never pay attention to the void spaces in the outer compartments of the base, the ones by the external walls. The reason for this is that it's just too easy to pre-trigger giant bombs with just a single hog, and if there is a double giant bomb, it's extremely easy to neutralize with an early heal spell and then sending follow-up hogs in to trigger the double giant bomb set one by one. So if we direct our attention to the secondary ring of the base and the core, where are the potential double giant bomb locations? Now in this base there are 3, but only 2 that make sense. In the compartment that holds the town hall, you'll notice that there's a 2-tile moat that surrounds the town hall. Now what makes this position a poor double giant bomb location? It's the orientation of the bombs and the fact that there's nothing on one side of the position to cause a group of hogs to path across it. Because this is a poor position, we rule it out during our planning process, and we prepare to hit the base as if the other 2 positions do hold the double giant bombs. Now if you remember, taking out the pathing to the double giant bomb sets by eliminating those defenses that are next to them are just as good as pre-triggering the bombs. Those key defense buildings in this base are the expo on the right and the air defense on the left. Oftentimes you'll find double giant bombs next to expos for 2 reasons. They're very high hit point structures, so hogs tend to group up there as they find themselves beating on it for much longer than they would a traditional defense building. The other reason is that expos are most commonly found in the secondary defense ring. Rarely will an expo be out by the external walls. So Caps first lures the Lava Hound out of the clan castle and keeps it distracted with an archer healer combo on the left side of this base. Now that the clan castle troops have been dealt with, all he has to focus on is killing that archer queen and eliminating the bomb threat to his hog riders. So as Caps heads into the base, he splits his golems on the bottom and creates a nice funnel with his wizards. He drops a few hogs on each side to help quickly take out those defensive buildings so his kill squad is able to push as deep as possible to get those double giant bomb positions dealt with. Now we see the king has made it to the expo on the right with full health, so we know that the double giant bomb position over there is successfully negated, but the one on the left still needs some attention. As long as that air defense is still standing, there is a threat to his hogs. To deal with this threat, he elects to send a couple more hog riders to target that air defense, and unfortunately, he misses with the first 2 hogs and they head to the wizard tower instead. Now even though he only has 12 hogs left in his camp, and well over half the base to attack, he modifies his drop position and sends 2 more hogs to target that air defense, this time successfully. Now as the hogs approach, the double giant bomb on the right is taken out by the Barbarian King, and the hogs on the left actually have taken down that air defense and path across the double giant bomb position to eliminate all of the giant bombs inside the base. This leaves him with only 10 hog riders left to take out over 50% of the base, but with 2 heal spells, 10 hogs is all he actually needs. Because he's dealt with the main threat to his hogs in advance, the bulk of his army, although a less substantial size than he probably would have liked, is able to clear the rest of this base with ease. So we've talked about hog rider attacks. Let's examine what we're looking for when approaching the base via the air. So when hitting the base via the air, it's a similar process as hog riders, but the troops and spells used are a little bit different. We still have to enter the base to kill the queen and the clan castle troops, but it's our secondary objectives that have changed. Instead of the giant bombs being the primary threat to your main attacking force, an air attack is most susceptible and most vulnerable to the air defenses themselves. It is crucial that we pay attention to their locations and determine how we might neutralize them before sending in our main attacking force. Now in most all Loon attacks where we bring a kill squad to accomplish our initial objectives and then follow that up with lava hounds to tank and balloons to hone in on the defenses, we bring 5 tanking troops as part of the army composition. This will be a mixture of golems for the kill squad and lava hounds for the main attacking force, and the number of golems is determined by how much tanking power you think you'll need to knock out some initial air defenses while you're in the process of killing that archer queen and clan castle troops. As a rule of thumb, you'll always want to make sure that you're trading a golem for an air defense at the minimum. For example, if you bring a cold-blooded attack, which means you're entering with 1 golem, you'll need to ensure that at least 1 air defense goes down. For a shattered entry, which is 2 golems, you'll want to make sure that 2 air defenses are dropped at a minimum. Making sure that this happens will give your air troops a shot to take out the base with very little incoming damage to your balloons, which is what you're trying to protect. You should nearly always have 1 more lava hound than there are air defenses remaining in the base once the kill squad has accomplished their initial objectives. Now, that means if 2 air defenses are still standing, you'll want to have 3 lava hounds in your army camp. And if 3 air defenses are still up, you'll want 4 lava hounds. So now that we scouted this base, and we see that up top there is an air defense right next to that archer queen, and on the way to the clan castle. So what are some of the other things that we take into account when considering an air raid? One of the biggest considerations that's often overlooked is the range of all of the air targeting defenses to the air defense buildings themselves. Now during your scouting, you can click on the archer towers, the wizard towers, and expos if they're pointed to the air to see if they'll be able to reach the nearest air defense building. Now why is this important? This means that when your lava hounds are deployed, they will stop in an area that is in range of all air targeting defenses, and this means that your balloons will waltz on into the base completely uncontested. Your lava hounds are the heroes, and your balloons wreck the remainder of the base, and in this base, even the Teslas that are obviously in the core are in range of each air defense. Another really key consideration is the location and the direction of the air sweepers in the base. Can any be taken out with the kill squad when you enter the base? And if so, what directions are the remaining ones pointing? Can it be destroyed quickly because it's close to the external walls perhaps? Or can you approach the air sweeper from behind where your balloons can quickly take it out without it ever affecting any of your troops? So if you can do any of these things, you're golden. If you have to deploy your loons straight into an air sweeper where the puffs of air are going to push them back continuously, your raid will oftentimes stall out and fail because your tanks will die out before you have an opportunity to kill the defenses with balloons. A couple of smaller points to consider: if there are so many, giant bomb positions that make sense inside the base if you're scouting it for hogs, and it's too risky to try and predict, maybe an air raid is more suitable for the base, at least for an initial attack. We can also examine the base's symmetry. Symmetrical bases are very easy to take out with balloons because the pathing is so predictable, and you can path your loons straight through the base in a wave like you'll see here in this raid. So as I deploy my golem to the north side of the base here, it's important to create a quick and reliable funnel to get your king and queen into the base to do their jobs. Realize that when you attack via the air, you oftentimes have less wizards at your disposal because much of your camp space has gone to additional tanks and balloons. So make sure that you pick an entry point that has a suitable spot to break your funnel off, such as the army camp on the left here in this base. The golem's going to go ahead and lure out the clan castle troops, and the wizards are just about to complete the funneling process. Both heroes are deployed, and the jump spell goes down to give the king a path right to that enemy queen, and to give the queen a path to the clan castle troops and the air sweeper and air defense in this base. Now, by attacking from the top section of this base, I'm getting a lot of value for my kill squad because I'm not only taking out the air defense and the queen and the clan castle, but I'm also getting an air sweeper and 2 archer towers in the process, both of which could hurt my loons later on in this raid. But with those buildings gone, it makes it easier on my balloons later on in the raid because they don't have to deal with them. Because the remaining air sweeper is pointed to the right, it's pointed into the base, and this makes it a very easy target because the balloons can approach from behind it, take it out, and then take out all of the other defenses in a wave very, very efficiently. So pay special attention to the balloons in this raid. Notice that you cannot see any of the health bars over the balloons. Now this is because the lava hounds are able to be in range of every defense building on the base. And realizing that during the scouting process and making the decision to attack via the air can make your air raids really, really easy. The queen, loons, and pups will go ahead and finish up the cleanup process once the loons take out all of the defenses in the base, and then we can move on to scout one more base that we determine is vulnerable to an air raid. In the final base we'll scout today, you can see that the defender has given us an absolute gift. He's placed the queen very close to the external walls and also placed an air defense and an air sweeper directly next to her. This means that for a very small kill squad, a very small investment, you'll be able to eliminate many of the primary threats to an air raid. Because that queen is so close to the outer walls, the judge does not even need to bring a jump spell, and he can add that spell back to his army composition in the form of another rage spell for his balloons. Now, just like in the last base, this is a very symmetrical base, and the pathing will be predictable. Because each air defense is close to the outer portion of the base, the external walls, the judge has decided to use a lava hound for each air defense and then target the balloons into the defenses right behind it. Another thing to pay attention to here that's pretty key is the core. There are no 2x2 tile empty spaces in the core, which means that no Teslas can exist there. This means that they will be in range of the air defense, as will all of the other air targeting defenses in this base. The balloons should have a very easy time of taking out all of the base's defense because they'll all be locked onto the hounds as they sit there tanking. Your balloons will only have to deal with the expos in the core. So as the hounds are deployed on each air defense in this base, the balloons are targeted to each defensive building in the immediate area, and a rage spell is dropped to help get them in. Once the initial hounds are, starting to explode, you'll see the first group of balloons start pathing through the core, and a rage spell is dropped to help get them through the expos with minimal damage. Once those defenses are destroyed and all that remains is cleanup, you've got 4 lava hounds in the army, and cleanup troops are rarely a problem as there's a substantial amount of lava pups generated when those hounds explode. So most of the bases shown in this video were beginner to intermediate in difficulty. We will be ramping up the difficulty as the series goes on, but it's important to first learn the basics of attacking for 3 stars. After this episode, you should have a much better handle on which style of attack to bring for a particular base, whether you should be bringing hogs or balloons. Remember that you will be keying on potential giant bomb positions and how you can get rid of them if you're attacking for a ground attack. If you're attacking via the air, you'll want to get those air defenses knocked out. Here in a few days, you'll be able to catch episode 3 of the 3-Star Bible, which is going to go into detail on kill squads, like how many golems you should bring for an attack, or which type of damage-dealing troop is best for your kill squad. Now, if you're new to the channel and are digging this series, hit that subscribe button. There's a lot of other great content on the channel. Thank you for watching the episode, guys. This is Powerbang. I'm signing out till next time, guys. Take care. Right up the gut of this base, assuming that wall is open, and you'll notice we brought 3 wall breakers to make that happen.